It's Tara here. Happy New Year, everyone. Just as a heads up before we get started, communications will start the live stream momentarily, so we're live. And then our first item of business will be to elect a chair and a vice chair for the meeting. So that's just a heads up before we start streaming.
Happy New Year, everyone.
How is my audio? Hi, and Happy New Year, everyone.
Hello, we can hear you very well, or I can. Thanks, Katrina. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first meeting of 2026 for the Accessibility Advisory Committee meeting. Just calling this meeting to order at 2 o'clock on January the 12th. Our first item of business is to elect a chair and a vice chair for 2026. So this position will extend to the end of this council term, which ends in November of this year. So we'll start off with the chair. Are there any nominations for chair of the committee? Councillor Gregg?
Thank you, Tara. I'm happy to nominate Catherine to repeat as chair.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Is there anyone to second that nomination for Catherine Schultz as chair?
I can do it this Brooke.
Okay, I think I saw a hand from Pamela as well. Thank you. Are there any other nominations for chair for 2026? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to close the nominations for chair? Christina, thank you. And Catherine, do you wish to have your name stand as chair again? Catherine, we will check in with you. Again, I'm not sure you're on mute or you're having sound issues, but I'm not able to hear.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I had some issues at the beginning when I tried to get in. Anyway, yes, to answer your question, Tara, yes, I would be honored to continue as chair for the committee.
Thank you very much. You are acclaimed as chair.
Thank you.
Moving to vice chair for the committee, are there any nominations for vice chair for 2026?
Alexa, turn off.
Pardon? Sorry, Councillor Gregg, I believe that was you, but I didn't hear what you said.
I think he said, Alexa, turn off.
Oh, okay. Are there any nominations for vice chair of the committee? The current vice chair is Councillor Scott Gregg.
So I'd like to nominate Councillor Scott Gregg again as vice chair, if you'd be willing to accept the position.
Okay, thank you. And is there a seconder to nominate Councillor Scott Gregg to the position of vice chair? Christina? Thank you. Any other nominations? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to close nominations?
I can do that. It's Brooke.
Thank you, Brooke. Counselor Gregg, do you wish to have your name stand for the position of vice chair?
I do, and thanks for bearing with me. I've got some buffering issues going on, so I understood enough of of the conversation.
Thank you. All right, you are claimed as vice chair for the committee for 2026. And at this time, I will pass it over to you, Chair Schultz, to continue on. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks, Tara. And thank you, everyone, for having the respect and faith in me to continue again as chair. As you know, this committee is very important to me, and I'm thrilled to continue on as chair for, from now until November. So thank you very, very much. And so I guess our next item on the agenda is declaration of interest. So does anyone have any declarations of interest to declare? Nobody? I don't see any hands up. So we will move on to the next item, which is delegations. And there are no delegations on the agenda today. So the next is the items for direction or discussion by this committee. So the first item on the agenda is report CS-26-003, City of Owen Sound Urban Design Guidelines and Policy Update. This will be presented to us by Christina McLean and Sabine Robard. And what I will ask is we'll present the motion first. So the motion is as follows, that in consideration of staff report CS-26-003, respecting the official plan and zoning bylaw update and urban design guidelines, the Grey County Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee review and provide input respecting the proposed updates. And can I have someone move the motion? Someone on the committee?
I can do that. It's Brooke.
Oh, thanks, Brooke. And a seconder. Christina? I just saw your hand was up.
I believe she was seconding
Scott.
that as well. Yeah.
Okay, Scott. Okay, thank you. And I will hand this part over to Christina McLean and Sabine Robard.
Good afternoon, committee. I hope everyone can hear me. Yes, okay. So my name is Sabina Robard. I'm the Manager of Planning and Heritage for the City of Owen Sound, and I haven't had the opportunity to present to this committee, so thank you for having me today. I'm going to share my screen now, and I am not that familiar with presenting on Zoom, so I'm hoping this works. That's not the screen I wanted. I'm sorry. Give me one sec. My apologies.
Sabine, we can see Owen Sound policy update, January 12th, 2026. Is that what you're wanting to share? I think we're able to see it properly.
It's the PDF of
Yep.
the presentation. Okay, I think
Yep.
it has a green line around it now, so I think I'm sharing the right, the correct, all right, presentation. Okay, sorry about that. So thank you, committee, and for the opportunity to present the city's policy update, including urban design guidelines, to this afternoon. The city is currently in the process of updating our official plan and zoning bylaw and preparing urban design guidelines. And the background reports and draft documents are available on the city's Our City webpage, which is linked in the presentation. And if anybody's had any problems accessing these documents or would like to access them, please let me know and I can help you with that. But I'm hoping that you were able to access them through the link. So the purpose of the official plan amendment we were doing is to implement the recommendations resulting from the official plan review program, which we undertook in 2025. The amendment incorporates applicable policy from recent updates to the Planning Act, the Provincial Planning Statement, and the County of Grey official plan. There have been significant provincial policy changes that have developed over the last couple of years. And so we're taking the opportunity to incorporate those into our official plan. The effect of the official plan amendment is to restructure sections within the official plan, revise and update policies associated with land uses, parkland, employment areas, affordable housing, and various housekeeping matters within the official plan. The zoning bylaw update. The purpose of the zoning bylaw amendment is to implement the recommendations again from the 2025 policy review, including amendments to the City of Owen Sound official plan through the official plan amendment number 14, as I just described in the previous slide. The effect of the application is to revise and update various sections of the zoning bylaw, including definitions, general provisions, use and development standards for various zones, and the general format, zone structure, and schedules. The urban design guidelines, which is what we're here to discuss today. The urban design policies, as laid out in Section 8 of the city's official plan, set out a broad vision for the built environment and provide criteria for evaluating development proposals. The proposed urban design guidelines implement those policies by providing a more detailed and council-approved guidance to shape future development. The directions are intended to assist city staff, property owners, businesses, developers, and the public in achieving a high-quality built environment that it reflects the city's long-term vision. So, the city's urban design guidelines establishes urban design standards for the development and redevelopment of areas or properties within the city. This will be particularly important in redevelopment and intensification of existing neighborhoods. The urban design guidelines will apply citywide through the following key focus areas. So general guidelines for land uses, including residential, commercial, industrial, and gateways and nodes, of which the city has a number, infill development, and public spaces. The urban design guidelines are intended to serve as an additional resource for city staff to assess development applications and to help both staff and applicants engage in meaningful discussion about urban design and heritage conservation based on a shared understanding of good urban design and clear expectations. The directions may also serve as a resource for property owners considering renovations or redevelopment that do not require a development application by illustrating best design practices. The directions are intended to help educate, inform, and inspire both public and private investment in the city. The urban design guidelines emphasize universal and age-friendly design principles. Accessibility is integrated across multiple sections with a focus on barrier-free access, inclusive public spaces, parking and circulation, amenities areas, wayfinding and signage, and universal design in building. And I'm going to go into each one of these quickly now. So in regards to barrier-free access, the urban design guidelines call for all public spaces and pedestrian routes to be universally accessible. Site plans require direct, well-lit, and barrier-free walkways from parking areas, transit stops and sidewalks to building entrances, and accessible entrances for ground floor units and multiple residential developments are encouraged. Inclusive public spaces should support a variety of ages, abilities, and backgrounds, and the incorporation of crime prevention through environmental design principles, including lighting and sightlines for safety, is encouraged. Seating options, shade structures, and weather protection for comforts are some of the features that should be included in the design of public spaces. Parking and circulation. The guidelines call for accessible parking spaces with clear pedestrian connections to entrances, designated pedestrian walkways in large parking areas using distinct pavers and landscaping. In regards to amenity areas, the guidelines require that outdoor amenity areas be safe, barrier-free, and directly accessible from main entrances, and that a variety of spaces, including communal areas, rooftop terraces, private balconies, for example, be included to accommodate different needs. Wayfinding and signage. The guidelines require that clear, legible signage be integrated within the building design, and that wayfinding aids for orientation in public spaces and employment areas be also included. In regards to universal design, there's an emphasis on age-friendly design and minimizing physical barriers. For example, multiple pedestrian entrances at street level for multi-tenant developments. It's important to note that in addition to the urban design guidelines, city planning staff will continue to apply the AODA checklist for the design of public spaces standards, accessibility standards for the built environment, to all site plan approval applications to ensure that site plans conform to the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act. And the committee receives a summary of our site plans as they are completed. Finally, planning staff will provide these urban design guidelines to developers through the pre-consultations processes that we do with each developer. And we work with the developers to implement the guidelines through the site plan approval process. Sorry. In regards to next steps, after we receive sort of comments from the committee, we will take the MHBC has been hired by the city to complete the process for us. They will provide a recommendation report, which is anticipated in March 2026, followed by the amending bylaws in April of 2026. Thank you for your attention, and I'd be happy to answer any questions or comments.
Thank you, Sabine. Does anyone have any comments for Sabine? Or any questions for Sabine? Yes, Kathy.
Hi there. Thanks. That was a really good presentation, and planning is very intricate, and it was tricky to go through the documents because they're very explicit. But I do have one question about EV charging stations. Because they're fairly new on the foreground, and some I've seen have been accessible and some haven't. And I wondered if consideration has been given to that, and if so, what?
Thank you for that comment. Actually, that's a very great comment that I'll definitely take back to MHBC. So you're right, EV charging stations will make their first appearance, to say, in our zoning bylaw with this sort of amendment. So we will require that a certain percentage of the required parking be in the form of EV charging parking stations. At this point, we don't have any accessible design for that, but that's something that I'll take back to the consultant, and we'll look to see if there's any accessible design standards that have been developed for EV parking stations by either other jurisdictions within Ontario or by AODA, so that we can include those as required in our policy update.
Okay, thank you, Sabine, and also through you, Chair. I do have a couple of examples that people have sent me, so I can forward those along to you. And I think it's more like not that the charging station be in an accessible parking spot, but more that having to do with the cement curbs and things that provide an obstacle. So I'm happy to send that to you.
Thank you so much. Much
Thanks.
appreciated.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. Anyone else have any comments or questions for Sabina? No? Okay, thank you, Sabina. We appreciate your presentation.
Thank you,
And-
committee.
Yes. Thank you very much for your time. And I will ask the committee to go back to the motion, and if we're not gonna repeat the motion, but as the motion was presented, all in favor? Is everyone in favor of the motion? Brooke,
Yes.
Ray,
The audio now unmute. Yes.
okay, Andrew,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
okay, thanks, Christina. And all right, so all in favor of the motion? So the motion is passed.
I finally got off mute.
Oh, great. Okay, thanks, Ray. Thank you for the update. Okay, we will move on to the next item on the agenda. That item is item number CSR-JAAC-04-26, site plan agreement for the Hanover Early On build. And that will be presented by Anne Marie Shaw, Director of Community Services. And I will present the motion that report CSR-JAAC-04-26 on the redevelopment of the Hanover Early On Child and Family Center be received, and that the Grey County Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee provide review and comment on the proposed design. Can I have someone move the motion, please? Pamela, thank you. And a seconder. Andrew? You have your hand up. I'm assuming that that's seconding the motion. Okay. Pardon, Andrew?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, I will hand this over to Anne Marie Shaw, Director of Community Services.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for allowing me to present. I am going to try and share my screen right now.
Anne Marie Shaw started screen share.
Perfect. So we are endeavoring to redevelop our Hanover Early On that is located in Hanover. It is not a childcare center. It is a family resource center. It provides programs for families and children from birth to 6 years of age. Parents and caregivers come to the center and they learn play, they meet with people, and they can get advice from our early childhood professionals. It offers various programs on from Monday to Friday and every other Saturday. It's drop-in programs. Some may have a sign up ahead of time, depending on what it is, but the majority of the programs are sign-in. It's a very interactive programs and parents, and it promotes responsive adult-child relationships. So the existing center that we have right now is located at 5159 9th Street in Hanover. It's a very well attended early on, one of our probably the best well attended in the county. In 2023, we had 2,500 visits that were made, the only problem with it is it's lacking its aging infrastructure. It does have limited parking. It has a lack of accessibility, and it's not meeting our operating needs right now. So we have proposed to buy some land, which we have done, and build a more accessible and modern early on. So we did hire JPM Architectural Inc. They're out of Kincardine. And we've been working with them since August to come up with a design for a new early on building. It does have a number of accessible features. The building is all one level. It has accessible parking. There is no step to exit into the play area from the building. It has accessible entrance, large entry with storage for strollers, seats, and coats, wide hallways, a large open play activity rooms, barrier-free washroom. One washroom does have a change table, and it does have adjustable lighting. And I will just give you an example of what it looks like. So if you're looking at the right-hand side, if you're heading in the vestibule area, you'll note on the left side, there is a very large area there for storage. That's not just storage, that's storage of people coming in. So for their coats, any backpacks, any strollers, anything like that could be stored there. As I said before, the corridors are wide, and the play area has no obstacles or anything in that. Any of the storage and whatnot are attached to the wall and on the side. We do have a barrier-free washroom, which is available open for everyone. And then we also have a washroom just offside play activity room number 1 that has a change table in it. You'll note at the top of the screen, there is a covered yard, and there is an accessible entry in and out to the covered yard. And then I can also show you a little bit of the design on the outside of the building. We are looking at accessible parking up front. There are wide 2 double doors into the building and lots of space and access around it. So I would be happy to answer any questions and open for any suggestions. I'd love to hear your feedback.
Yes, Pamela.
Yes, I was just wondering, with the entranceway doors, is there an automatic door or?
Yes, it will be automatic door.
Any other questions or comments for Anne Marie from the committee? No? Yeah, I think the design of the building is points out a lot of the accessibility features. Oh, and Kathy.
Thanks. I couldn't find my button to unmute. The only thing that I wanted to add, because it's an excellent report and really great floor plan and presentation. We do receive a lot of communication about barrier-free washrooms and accessible washrooms, and just a note to make sure that where the handrails get placed makes sense, because I have had a lot of other projects where that's been something that hasn't actually been done in the best way. So just ahead of doing anything, just to throw that out there.
Great, thanks, Kathy. I'll make notes.
Yes, thanks, Kathy. And Pam? Pam.
Thank you, and through the chair, just a couple of notes, Anne Marie, and there's likely a more detailed site plan. This one looks a little bit illustrative, but on the edge of the barrier-free parking space closest to the building, it looks like there's a double line curb, which sometimes means a barrier curb. So you maybe just want to check that you're not creating a barrier to your front entrance. And it looks like you have a really great accessible front entrance, and you mentioned automatic doors. And I just wondered, it looks like there's 2 maybe bollards, if that curb is a drop curb along the front building entrance. It looks like there's 2 bollards, just making sure that you have again, 1.5 meters around that bollard so that you're not creating sort of a pinch point. But I can't read the dimensions on the plan, so it may be just fine. And then I wonder about whether you might need like a tactile walking surface indicator right at that front entrance, but it's something you could maybe check with the architect on.
Excellent. Thanks, Pam. I will take those back.
You're welcome.
Yeah, good point, Pam. And one of the things that I was going to just mention, sort of along the lines of what Kathy Nuno has said, one of the things that I find that gets missed quite often in accessible washrooms is making sure that the pipes under the sink are wrapped or they've got some kind of insulation around them. That is really important. I see so many brand new buildings and I, walk into the accessible washroom and there we are, the pipes are exposed and it's extremely important that those are covered. I know it's a very small detail when you're looking at a build, but it is something that under the AODA, we do have to have some concern around.
Perfect. Thank you.
I wanted to point that out. And Christina has a comment or question, so thank you.
Can you just zoom in on the bathroom, the accessible bathroom for a second? Hey, you.
Anne-Marie, at the top of the screen there where it says page 3 of 6, just to the left, there's a plus and minus. You can click the plus and it should zoom in there.
Yeah, I don't have +3 of 6 on mine anymore because I'm sharing.
Oh, okay.
Let me try. There we go. There we go. There we go. So the barrier-free washroom, Christina?
Yeah, I was just looking. So ironically enough, about 2 weeks ago, I was in a hospital and I ended up in a bathroom, which they were like, oh, this is the wheelchair accessible one. And I was like, oh, A, the hand dryer is too high on the wall. B, the garbage is a panel in the wall, which is not reachable. And then you just look at the people who like, they have the option of hand dryer and or paper, or they put the garbage can right underneath underneath the hand dryer. And so I wasn't sure if that was actually on there, which it doesn't look like it is, and that's fine. But I was just out of curiosity because then you kind of just wonder where some of those things are going to end up and aren't really actually accessible at all. So I just wasn't sure if it was on there because I was trying to look, but glasses were not quite that good. But those are future things for people to look at because I know even in the town where I live, there's a few places where you go and the hand dryer is way too high. Like someone in a wheelchair can't, they can't hold their hands up that high, and it is also a kid's washroom, right? So I have seen places where they have 2 hand dryers. So they have one that's higher and one that's lower for kids. Those kind of things, and then watching the placement of the garbage can. Just little simple things.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I will take those back.
Yeah, good point, Christina. Anyone else have any comments or questions for Anne-Marie?
Yes, I assume that you're talking the pipes under the sink in regard to hot water and burning. Could those water pipes not be right in the wall rather than under the sink?
And I don't think on the drawing here we have them labeled as to where they are. I think it was just a suggestion that if they are exposed, that we definitely should have them wrapped. But yes, I would agree. I would prefer them in the wall too.
Good comment, Ray. Anyone else have any comments or questions for Anne-Marie? No? Okay. Thank you, Anne-Marie, for presenting to the committee today. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. I'm now going to move to the approval of the motion, and all in favor of the motion as presented? Everyone?
The audio now on mute.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. The motion is carried. All right. So we'll now move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the Grey Highlands Progress Report by Jackie Groves, the HR manager. And I will present the motion that the 2025 Grey Highlands Accessibility Progress Report be received for information. And can I get a mover?
I'll move that.
Okay, thanks, Ray. And a seconder,
I
Pamela?
can do that. Oh,
I think Pamela had her hand up first. Okay, Pamela? All right, and I will now hand this over to Jackie Groves.
Thank you so much. I think a standard report basically outlining what sort of progress we have made in the year 2025, items that we have been looking at, working towards, and planning as part of our multi-year accessibility plan from 2023 to 2027. This is just one of our periodic updates to the committee with some of the items that you would have seen throughout the year as well. So.
Thank you, Jackie. And does anyone have any comments or questions for Jackie with regards to the report? No? Nothing from the committee members? Okay, Jackie, I thank you very much for your update.
Thank
and
you.
the report. Yeah, it's very well written. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the next item. It's correspondence, which there is no correspondence to report. And under item number 7, other business, funding opportunity links. And I believe this could be Kathy Nuno.
Yeah, I think Chair Schultz, you're right on the money.
Yes, thank you.
Speaking about money, there's money to be had. So this is probably of most interest to the municipal members. There's a few funding things that are available. The Rick Hansen Foundation funding, it says for schools, municipalities, community groups, or nonprofits. The application deadline is March 15th. There's 40 grants available for up to $40,000. And you can do things like accessible play spaces, improved parking and exterior access, interior accessibility improvements for community facilities and workspaces, elevators and lifts, accessible washrooms and showers, accessible kitchens, cafeterias, and eating spaces, emergency response and safety improvements, and improvements to park trails and marine access. So I think there's some good opportunity here just to, ramp up, so to speak, our removal of barriers everywhere. The next one is the Ontario Trillium Foundation Capital Grant, and that deadline is March 4th. It seems to be a bit more of a robust application process. There are like pre-meetings and things like that to have in order to figure out how you're going to submit your application to improve physical spaces for community use. And that is 10,000 to 200,000. So, I mean, there's some good opportunity there. And the last one is really more of a collaborative project. So probably less opportunity, but it's an Ontario Trillium Foundation Youth Opportunities Fund to support collaborative projects led by youth and families to improve the well-being of communities. So good luck to everybody. I hope you apply and I hope you're successful.
Thank you, Kathy. Great information and good resources too. Okay, so the next item is the next meeting date will be April the 2nd at 2 p.m. And if anyone has no other questions or comments to make, I would then propose adjournment. And do we need a motion to adjourn, Kathy? Yes, okay. I always forget that one.
I can do that one.
Okay, thanks, Brooke. Thank you for moving it. And a seconder?
Sure.
Ray or Christine?
Sure.
Ray. Okay. All right, thanks, Christine, anyway. And all in favor of adjourning the meeting?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. And it was great to see everyone again. And I had said it earlier, but not everybody was on the meeting. Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy 2026.
Yes, let's hope it's a great year.
It's gonna be.
It will be, yes.
What do you say?
Good positive attitude, Ray. All right, thanks everyone. See you later.